and so you can see here almost entire bartan is now filled with the dough. This is the kind of rising you're going to need. So now I reattach my dough attachments there. And now what you need to do is to add atta slowly. My bartan takes around at a time. This is where feel comes in. It takes some time to get used to how much to add. I'll gently try to give a guideline. Let's see. So I had roughly added 80. Here goes another 80. This 400 gram dough that I started with, 400 gram atta that I started with, gives me around 1.2 kilos of bread, which I usually split into 800 and 400 grams, depending on what bread tin I have. You can scale the recipe as it is. There is nothing really you need to worry about about multiplying or dividing that same recipe. So you can see now my dough is getting stiff. I'll add a bit more atta so that it comes to kneading consistency and I can pull it out of the bartan. So you would have noticed I've added roughly 110 grams of atta to it already to bring it to a kneadable consistency. In between, I keep scraping down the edges to bring all the flour together so that it becomes one nice ball of dough and I can pull it out of the bartan. Beginning to come together. Can you see it? So now I am releasing the blades out. It's time to work those hands. You can see the whole thing became one ball of dough. And clean your work surface. I had cleaned it just shy of starting this process. Dust it with flour and out you come. Here's another advantage of having a plastic bartan. Nearly nothing remains stuck in the bartan. And there we are. Dust your fingertips a little bit. Don't press the dough down, it will stick to your kitchen platform. Spread press it parallel to your kitchen platform. So my movement is this, it's not this. This takes some time to get a hang of. Work with the soft part of your palm. Use your fingers to bring the dough together intermittently. Now here, I don't know how used to, making normal rotis you guys are. So the dough for paratha is a bit softer than what we use for roti. So we are targeting a dough consistency just between that of roti and paratha. Don't let it go as stiff as roti. But if you're working in the paratha consistency, although it's good for the softness of the bread, I find it very hard to work with because you're going to shape the bread, aren't you? So to avoid that, try getting it a little, harder than the paratha dough. So you can see slowly I'm bringing in all the atta. There's just no time to die. No time to die. So this is a fairly good consistency to work with. Now immediately don't try to start shaping it because the gluten is still getting activated. So it's a very good idea to knead it for a little while and don't stop in between because the dough tends to get stuck to the kitchen platform. If you want, you can use just a few drops of oil to make the surface a bit non-sticky so that you can work on it. This is purely optional, it's not really required. I don't do it on a regular basis. You will begin to feel the suppleness of the dough under your fingers. Now what I usually do is I let the dough rest for about 10 minutes. You will actually see it begin to rise and also the gluten gets properly activated. So you know that you are in good territory. That's a very good time to start shaping your dough. In the meantime, I'll get all my pans in place. You don't really actually even need a pan. You can just put baking paper on top of your baking tray and bake the bread as a loaf. Now coming to the oven, I have never had a convection microwave. So I have zero experience with convection microwave, but I'm sure you'll be able to find online how to use that. Always had microwave and oven separately. So I only know how to handle these breads in an oven. Now, by the time you are at this stage, you should switch your oven on because breads are always put into the oven after it is preheated. So you'll need around 10 minutes for the oven to reach the temperature. I guess it's similar for convection microwave, but I wouldn't know. I have never used one. So you can see a soft, supple dough ball is ready. I will weigh it so that I can decide which way to split my bread to put into the relevant bartans in the baking tins. Yep, 1270. Always between 1240 to 1280. So if you want a 600 gram bread, go half with the recipe. If you want a 300 gram bread, go quarter with the recipe. But of course mine includes eggs as well, which are around 45 grams each. So accordingly, just play around a bit and you'll be able to find out which bread works for your house. That's nice and soft and ready. This bread is a bit heavy to eat compared to the market bread, which serves half air and half solids. So what you typically will consume in the market 400 grams bread, you will need just about 250 in homemade bread. Now give me 10 minutes, I'll grease my tins and let my bread rise so that I can show you the process properly. I like to lightly grease the button on which I'm keeping it. I'm using a spray, but feel free, you can grease with just normal oil also. It's just quicker for me to use the spray. Back in 10 minutes.